Rav Huna wants to say that I could use chuppah for what? Also for Kiddushin.
So now that this would be the fourth way of doing
Fourth way.
Your son taught us yesterday around the 3, and now we're adding another one, which is
4, right. Now, how does that work?
Right.
It says 3. How can you tell me 4?
Ah, exactly.
Rav Huna can't argue with the Mishnah. So Rav Huna is saying, he's not becoming a chas v'shalom. He's coming and telling you a rule. That you're right, there are 3 kinyanim which have nothing to do with Kiddushin. But the 4th one, chuppah, is the kinyan of Kiddushin. That is the kinyan of Kiddushin. To bring her into your domain. The other ways
are... 3 you're not bringing them into your domain.
You are, but they're not intrinsically bringing into your domain. You're giving her money, and you're using other Kiddushin, which are being used for Kiddushin.
End game is the bottom.
And that's chuppah.
And the chuppah
is still Kiddushin, not Nisui.
Oh, that's what Huna says.
So if you don't do chuppah, what happens?
Before we don't go there yet, just listen to what we first said.
That's what I'm saying. So the chuppah is very important.
Listen again. Mauricio, you're missing what I'm saying.
I'm missing.
Let's go back to what I'm saying. Haisha nignit b'shalosh drachim.
3 ways.
That is Rabbi Yehuda Hanasi right.
Yes.
Comes Rabbi Huna says wrong 4 ways.
Yes.
How does he argue with Rabbi Yehuda Hanasi?
Right.
He doesn't argue with Rabbi Yehuda Hanasi. Rabbi Yehuda Hanasi is telling me that there's 3 outside kinyanim which can also be used for Kiddushin. What are the outside Kiddushin? Kesef. Kesef has nothing to do with marriage. Doctrine has nothing to do with marriage. Biyah might have something to do with marriage. But chuppah is the gold standard of kinyanim for marriage. Bringing her into your domain, and that's what Kiddushin is all about. So you don't need to write that down.
I know you're saying exactly. But
What am I saying?
No, what you're saying is the first 3 that we got, okay, are not going and bringing this girl into your thing. So you're saying now it's really needed for this. No?
I'm saying that the only kinyan which is specifically for Kiddushin is chuppah. There's no other one which is specifically for Kiddushin.
How can you say that? We have על-ידי חופה וקידושין.
Again.
And חופה...
Rav Huna is arguing. We're trying to understand this opinion of Rav Huna. Read Rav Huna. Amar Rav Huna. Look at it. Don't look at me.
What is Rabbi's question?
Hey, I don't know. He doesn't have a question.
No, I'm saying that...
Look at the Gemara. 7 lines, 8 lines on the bottom of the page. Lower, all the way to the bottom.
Bottom right.
5 pages on the bottom of the page. 5 lines, 8 lines on the bottom of the page.
Okay, Rav Huna.
Amar Rav Huna.
חופה קונה. מקל וחומר.
Comes Rav Huna and says, chuppah is you could acquire for Kiddushin mikal v'chomer. The Mishnah really should say what? Haisha nignit bekesef, b'shtar, u'b'biyah, u'b'chuppah. That's Rav Huna. He can't argue. How does he argue with the Mishnah? So we just tried to explain that chuppah is the essence of Kiddushin. What does it mean, the essence? Now what does Kiddushin mean to do? To bring her into your domain. What does chuppah do? It is bringing her into your domain. You make a canopy, and you tell your wife, Fadali, come into my domain. So isn't that the essence of Kiddushin, Rav Huna says? So I don't need to have it written in Mishnah. The other ones are ways of using other kinyanim to marry. Here, this is marriage, chuppah. That's all he says.
Mishnah would have told us this.
He says, Rav Huna says, you don't have to say it. Rav Huna says, you don't have to tell me the obvious. The Mishnah just don't you understand, Mauricio? It's not a major thing. This is chuppah. This is Kiddushin. They're the same thing. What is Kiddushin? What is it? Bringing it into your domain. What is Kiddushin?
No.
What is Kiddushin?
You bring her into your domain a year later.
Who told you that? No, you never heard that before.
What? We learn ketubot.
Now, let's read the Gemara here. You don't bring it into any year later. Now listen carefully. You listen carefully. Let's see what the Mishnah says. Amar Rav Huna. Chuppah koneh mikal v'chomer. Comes Rav Huna says, I have a kal v'chomer. Uma kesef she'eno machil. What is kesef which does not allow her to eat betruma? Koneh acquires chuppah shemachelet betruma eno din shetikneh. What is the din by chuppah? It does allow her to eat truma. Isn't the din that she should be acquired with it? Now the question arises: when I go and make chuppah according to Huna, do I need anything else?
No, you're done.
Am I done? Or
If you brought her into your
Trying to understand what he's trying to say.
we know two concepts are needed in marriage: Kiddushin and chuppah. Now, does chuppah need to be after Kiddushin, or can chuppah be before Kiddushin, or can chuppah override Kiddushin?
If we look at the bracha, it's very clear.
We're not looking at the bracha. The bracha came much later.
Honestly, it can, because we still do Kiddushin today. Otherwise, we'll override.
We're not talking about what we can do. We have an opinion called Rav Huna. We're understanding Rav Huna, doctor. We're not understanding what we do today. What does Rav Huna say chuppah could do? Now Rav Huna says you could use it for Kiddushin. Does that mean I still have to make another chuppah? For Nisuin or not? Is marriage a two-stage process? And even if you're going to make chuppah for Kiddushin, you're going to have to make it again? Like Avi says, because there's another entrance into your domain? Or do you say that no? Now I'm going to give you the same thing. The Gemara will ask, not for Rav Huna, for us. You know what the Gemara is going to ask? A person goes to a young woman and he's not going to give her shtar and he's not going to give her kesef. He's going to go and do biyah. Hari'at mekudesh li biyah zu. The Gemara says, do you need chuppah now?
Yeah, it's like you're bringing her into your domain.
No, but you're saying that should be enough.
Same question. Same question. You hear the question in that case better? You hear the question better?
Through biyah, not through document, not through money. Through biyah. He's not pulling her into your domain.
That's the question we'll about later on. You don't need chuppah anymore. You did the most.
You got it.
Or you still need chuppah. Sheila, the same question you have by biyah, you have by chuppah. Got it? Oh, but chuppah is only according to Rav Huna. Because we're not posek like Rav Huna. We'll see later on. But according to Rav Huna, we're asking theoretically. Rav Huna, you made chuppah. Do you have to do something against after? Is it a double stage still? Or have you skipped one stage? Interesting question. Comes the Gemara and says, let's read, where does Rav Huna know it from? He knows it from a Kal Vachomer. Uma kesef, thank you. Uma kesef, she'eno machil, betruma. What is it when I have a Kohen who is marrying a young woman who's Israel? And now what did she do? I met such a person in India. He was a Kohen, African Kohen. And he married, he tells the guy, okay, we'll tell you afterwards. She'eno machil betruma konecha chuppah she'me'achelet betruma eno din she'tikneh. When it comes to chuppah, which you could eat, isn't it a din that it should be koneh a kesef? Oh, comes the one and says the kesef eno machil. What are you talking about? Kesef is not machil. Now Omer Ula says davar Torah arusa bat Yisrael ochelet betruma. We have a din, and we learn in Ketubot that in truth, what is the din? If you have a young woman who marries a Kohen, and they didn't do chuppah, they only did Kiddushin. What is the din min Torah? She did truma. Shene'emar ve'kohen ki yifnei nefesh kinyan kaspo. Anything which is kinyan kaspo can eat truma. V'hay kinyan kaspo. And this woman in Kiddushin is kinyan kaspo. No, what happened if he married with a star, make Kiddushin with a star? That's all good. Kinyan kaspo. Umatam? Oh, but we learned in Masechet Ketubot, Umatam amru en ochelet. Maybe she'll go home with her truma cake and it's so delicious. Her husband gave her a birthday cake. double tiered, beautiful. Oh, she's still living at home.
But that's because that would be
She's still living at home. So she might take the Shirah home and give a family to eat.
She's still not at her
But the logic could still hold. The Gezerah is the Rabbanan. But the
Right.
Raita, the logic
Right.
would maybe
Sure.
hold if the
Hold,
logic is
sure.
good. If it's good.
Right? Here,
No,
I'm gonna
different answer.
tell you a side case. Side case. We were with cyclists from Eretz Yisrael. One man had lost his arm in Eretz Yisrael. From here all the way down, lost it. He was in tremendous pain. Opiates made him crazy. What is he going to do? What did he take? He started taking marijuana. Helped a lot. Now, the question is, he's taking marijuana. Maybe Asur. Why? Maybe he'll give it to the people in his house. Like this Gemara. All the above. All the above. All the above. All of the above. All of the above.
A guy who takes medicine for high cholesterol, diabetes, whatever the medicine is, you're going to say the same thing.
No. Nobody wants to take high cholesterol medicine. There's no reason for you to take it.
Don't make me high.
So it's not a benefit like that.
What do you think? It's contrary. It makes you higher than the smoking.
Concentrated marijuana.
So he has hashish with him, and he smokes it. He says his wife every few weeks wants some also. So you see that it's comes Rabbi Yashuv. Okay, Rabbi Yashuv has the question. He says, Mutar, don't worry about it. Even though his son-in-law goes on and says, Asur. His son-in-law says, it's Asur for a few reasons, but we're not going to go there. But he brought the proof from Gemara. His son-in-law. The Kohen ki yikneh nefesh, kinyan kaspo, v'hai kinyan kaspo, umatam amru, en ochelet. Also, why do we not let our girls eat from the truma? Gizera, we have a gizera. Shema yimzegu lakos bebeit avia, v'tishekenu la'acheha. Because maybe they'll give her food or give her drink in her husband's house, and she'll take it to her daughter, to her sisters, lachoteha, to her brothers and to her daughters.
Maybe any kind of tarif, maybe there's tarif to other people.
Mr. Gindi. Who eats ham sandwiches?
Difficult.
You don't know. So what are you asking the question? Here she's eating truma and she's allowed to eat truma. Here she's smoking marijuana and she's allowed to smoke marijuana. Medicinal. Do we worry that she gives it to somebody else? So when it comes to truma, we're worried. When it comes to medicinal marijuana, they'll take it. Let the other person also have a little bit of fun. Shem ha'im zegu lakos bebeit aviha, v'tishkenu la'achia v'la'achoteha. El parichachi. Uma kesef she'eno gomer koneh. Chupa shegomer eno din shetikneh. So the Gemara says, Gomer finishes. That's the end. That is the final what?
Completes the kinyan.
I was at that.
What do you think, Rabbi?
The whole thing, not just the beginning part. The whole thing. So listen to the recording.
How do you learn this? Did you learn
Mr. Adis, let me tell you something. When the original Gemara was written, there was no Rashi and there was no Tosfot. There was no Renu Gershom and there was Gemara alone. You'll go to the museum in Tel Aviv and you'll see the original Gemara.
This, you're going to see only this.
That's Gemara. Whatever. Then afterwards, what they do? They put Rashi all the way on the bottom. Not so good. on the bottom. And then came the Goyim, and what did they do? They decided to put Rashi and Tosfot. So who put the Tosfot there?
The Goyim, really? Well, the printers called Goyim.
Printers were Goyim.
How long after did Rashi come and Tosafot come?
Grandson.
No. At the Gemara.
Oh, in the Gemara.
When did Rashi
Tosfot
come?
didn't come into the Gemara till what the printing press, 1500, 1600. Rashi came into the Gemara already in the 1300s.
And
Well, you might good people sometimes.
The Gemara came when? 500?
What?
What year was the Gemara?
About 500.
So good. They went for about 500 years, Gemara only.
Tosfot argued with themselves.
Wow.
They didn't have Rashi to put.
No, they had. When we look at Tosfot, Tosfot is Pirush B'Kuntros. What's a Kuntros?
The papers.
The notes. Over and over, you have it. Tosfot says Pirush B'Kuntros.
Not about the column.
What does that? What's Kuntros mean?
But he didn't have it here.
It's the notes. The word Kuntros means in the notes, in the books, because it wasn't in Gemara.
But they knew it's
That's his grandfather. They knew all his grandfather. For sure.
Wow.
Mr. Gindi, the first Perush in the Gemara was Rashi, printed. Ben Gershom was printed in his own book. You want to read Rashi originally, you buy Gemara, and then you go buy Rashi. Then they put Rashi in. That's later.
And Rambam.
they scan everything.
And you don't think Rashi scans everything? Again.
You know what? He looks every time. All the time.
Right?
Where's Rashi?
Where's Rashi? It wasn't here. It wasn't in the book.
Maybe he didn't scan like the way they scan the head.
So if you learn Rashi Biyun, which they don't do so much anymore,
Where's Biyun?
with tremendous depth, you'll see that Rashi is deeper than Tosfot.
See what?
When you open up deeper than Tosfot, no, you don't have to say. If you learn it, you have to say. You look at Rambam. And study Rambam properly. You'll see that Rambam is much deeper than Tosfot.
Like just,
Oh, it looks simple,
but they think it's just.
but if you understand that he has Morisho, Tishmatov, this is something you better know. When I learn Gemara and I take a Rambam put it to the side, that is the greatest Perush on Gemara, according to me. Now, why is that? Because when I learn Rashi goes on the Gemara direct. When I look at Tosfot, it's going directly on the Gemara. When I look at the Rambam, he doesn't tell you where he's getting his perush. He gives you Mr. Gindi, nothing to do with source. He went and he wrote his final opinion. Now it says in the Mishnah, Haisha niknet b'shlosh drachim. A woman is acquired in 3 ways. Open up the Rambam says, Haisha niknet b'shlosh drachim. Good. Shnai midoraita, echad midivrei sofrim. 2 are from the Torah and 1 is divrei sofrim. What does that mean? Where did he get it from? Now you have to break your head and understand the Gemara the way the Rambam learned it.
Oh my God! Because he's different than we learn it from 3 ways. Now you're saying 2
And 1.
And whoa! How'd you come up with 2 and 1? Then you have to go to him. And
So you have to go and understand the
he learned that. That's a total different Gemara.
He doesn't tell you.
And you tell me Rashi is Tosafot.
They tell you every directly on the Gemara.
Boom, the 3 came from here. Wow.
And Rambam just gives you bottom line.
Bottom line. And you have to connect the bottom line to the Gemara. So when you are a scholar learning in the yeshiva in Eretz Yisrael, what do you do in Flatbush? No.
They learn Harambam.
I was with 3 students last week, and I was learning with them. The way they learn Harambam is like this. How they teach?
Lightly or deep? What do you mean?
That's why they get.
I don't even call it. Not even lightly. Not even lightly.
It's only Rambam. What do you mean? He's the greatest. The babe. Where we need what's his name?
He's the babe, right?
We need Diane over here.
Right? Okay.
So who's the greatest in the world?
What do you mean? What do you mean?
The Rambam is no question.
Rambam.
When you understand the Rambam, you see the Gemara in a different light.
The way I look at it, the way.
Okay, I'll just give you an idea. I'll give you an idea. We just learned 5 pages of Gemara. The Gemara originally started Kesef Menayin, first page of the Gemara. And the Gemara goes on and says, we learn Kesef, Kicha Mistei Slowly. Kicha is Gzera Shava. The Gemara jumps and says a whole new opinion. They completely ignore the first opinion, and they bring down another opinion. What's the second opinion? What's the second opinion? And kesef alun zeh, aval yesh kesef that she goes out free and kesef. Yatzach chinam and kesef. Comes the Gemara and brings down that opinion. It says no, that's the source for kesef.
Oh, that's what he said.
You got that?
Yeah.
So we have a gzera shava, and we have a pasuk. Now all of a sudden it starts opening our eyes. The Gemara has 2 sources for kesef. Which is the source which is true? Comes the Rambam, doesn't tell you. He says kesef is midivrei sofrim. If it's learned from the pasuk in kesef, that is a regular pasuk.
Right, you don't need to get that.
Therefore, what does the Rambam come and tell me when it's midivrei sofrim? It must be that he feels that the proper Gemara is what? Kicha mistei afron. And therefore he's telling you that there's a distinction between learning from a straight pasuk and learning from what? Gzera shava. Such says the Rabbi Magid in the Rambam. So all of a sudden, you learn 5 pages of Gemara. Now all of a sudden, after learning 5 pages of Gemara, you can start understanding what the Gemara is coming, what the Rambam is coming to tell you. So sometimes he learns the Gemara, he puts a psik in a different place. All of a sudden, the pshat of the Gemara is completely different. And you say, what? Rashi told us differently. The Rambam says, Rashi, you put the psik in the wrong place. And Rambam goes on, and Tosfot goes on and builds. Maybe not. Maybe not. And Tosfot builds on the Rashi's psik. And all of a sudden you see Rambam, and Rambam says, psik atem lo yodim. So that is the beauty of the Rambam. So the Rambam learns the Gemara completely, many times, not all the time. Many times it's completely different than Rashi. Once Rashi uses a statement of the Gemara, most of the Ashkenazim will follow that. Rambam doesn't care. He learns the Gemara his own way. That's why he's called Harambam. Put that hay there. Okay.
If he sat down with Rashi together,
we would have an unbelievable discussion.
Wait, Rabbi, how many years
would they agree? Or
My mother, I'm going to tell you. I'm going to tell you what my mother said. My mother says that the Rambam's grandfather was Rashi, and Rashi must have been Sephardi. So you see, Rashi lived before Rambam. So why does she say he has to be Sephardi? Because nobody can write as clear if he's Ashkenazi. The Rashi is also not like Tosfot. Tosfot gives you a question, gives you an answer. He builds you up. Rashi just writes one line. That one line could have all the questions and all the answers of Tosfot in 5 words. So, I says, Ashkenazi אוהב לדבר.
that's how I think about it.
It's unique, by the way. Infinite.
What? That's what Rabbi Magid says.
They want to switch. They'll find a way. They'll find a source. And they'll stand up and they'll
Flatbush Barkai.
Can we go on? So we are now on Daf He Amud Bet. Let's continue. As we gave you the Shita of the Rambam. Chuppah. That's the brisket. Only on the Rambam.
Sammy, you said you did the phone.
Yeah, with that, we didn't do Tosfot.
No, we don't do it. Once in a while, you see articles. I don't see nothing. Once every few pages.
If we didn't read Maharsha, we will not do this.
Okay, we have a Tosfot here. It has a beautiful Marshan. Maybe tomorrow we'll do it. To show you the system. To see the system. To see the system. Right. Chuppah shegomeret. En odin shetikneh. Chuppah, which finishes off the marriage procedure, is an adin that it, the word could be koneh. The Gemara says wrong. What is the din of kesef that could do other things besides marriage? Biyah tochiach. Biyah will disprove that biyah can only do what? Could only make kiddushin. Could only make kiddushin and even right. What is the din of biyah which is koneh biyavama and kesef cannot be koneh biyavama? Kesef yochiyah. Kesef will prove that it's individual. The chazar adin, and the din goes back. Lord Izek and Izek, you cannot learn anything from each other because each one has a different power.
That's a good
That's why you need both.
That's why you need to, right?
Weakness without that.
The Lord Izek and Izek. Hatzad hashaveh shebehen. And what is the equivalent side of them? Shekonim ba'alma, that they have a power of kinyan in different cases. Shekonim kan. Af ani evi chuppah. Shekonim ba'alma. So now, when I look at chuppah, the simplest concept is when the Torah comes and tells the kikach ish isha. We have a very simple concept of marriage. How do you get married? You have kesef shtar biyah. We learned it out clear. Now, when it comes to chuppah, where does it say that I have to have another stage of marriage? Where does it come from?
So how did you start with that?
When we look into what we saw, this question by the Rishonim, the Rambam discussed this question in a very clear way. What happens? The Torah says kikach ish isha. And we learned in the beginning that is acquiring through three ways. Who says there's anything next?
Maybe it's done.
That's done.
Is it from the word heavy somewhere? Hevi'ah or?
So there's two sources. One source is Ba and Pashat Matot, when it talks about the concept of neder, that when a husband has a wife, he is the one who is able to do what? To negate his. She comes and says, "We are afraid of that." She doesn't go to Bedin. He does.
Husband.
Husband says,
When she's at home, a young girl in her father's house, who could annul her vows?
The father.
The father. So you have a father in one situation. Now comes the pasuk and says, what happens if she's both in her father's house and in her husband's house?
That could only be in Kiddushin.
So you need both.
That's only in Kiddushin before Nisuin.
So all of a sudden you see that there is a situation which she's not yet out of her father's house, but she's not yet in her what?
Husband's house.
You have another thing by Bat Ish Kohen. She's still in her father's house, but she's still not in her husband's house. That she gets Srefa instead of Skila. So all of a sudden you see two cases where we see a woman in the twilight zone. What's the twilight zone? Comes the Chacham say that's Kiddushin without chuppah. But when I open through the Torah, you'll never find this chuppah concept.
Wow.
You'll never find the Nisuin. You find it
This is the source for the unbelievable.
No, Yosef, but you didn't see
Believe
it?
it?
These
Every
two
marriage
things.
takes place because of this.
She's not in her house, in her father's house, and she's not yet married with her
both,
husband.
right.
Therefore, you need, as you said, the chuppah is.
So how do we do the nisuin? Now where do they learn that from?
So the Surin of the Chuppah, how to do it, becomes questionable. You'll go to the Shulchan Aruch, you'll go, the Rambam is not so difficult. You'll go to the Shulchan Aruch, you'll go see 4 opinions. One opinion is when the Chatan comes and lifts the what? Lifts the veil, Chuppah. One opinion is when you go under the canopy. One opinion is when he does what? He goes into the Yichud room. That's the Rambam. You put him in a place where Ra'ul Biyah comes. The Rivat says, what Ra'ul Biyah? Biyah! She could be under the chuppah in January, and I saw cases like this, and she's not married till March.
No, you call the rabbi, nothing happens.
Nothing happened, right?
Nothing happens.
Nothing happened. Mr. Gindi, what's flaky? Maybe he's a tzaddik gadol. Here, I'll tell you. I used to give chatan classes. So for the girl, she has to have at least 10 hours to learn Hilchot Nidat. The boy needs an hour and a half. But afterwards, you give the chatan shmuz to prepare him for the chuppah. So that is already something more important for him than the law. The law, the wife should know this. You go in, and the girl's Bet Yaakov girl, the boys are yeshiva. So you explain to him. First, hold her hand. While you're walking out of the car in the hotel, hold her hand. Start physical contact in the Yichud room. Tell her how beautiful she looks. Kiss her on her forehead. Afterwards, you go into the room. You put your hands around her shoulders. And you said, how beautiful was the wedding. If you see that she twitches when you put your hand around her shoulders, take it away. You have to be very... One night, there was a little boy, very quiet young lady, Bet Yaakov, Sniut. She doesn't open her mouth. I think she's the most timid. He calls me up. I told him what to do. You're in the yichud, you're in the hotel. All of a sudden, kiss her on the cheek. And then give her something to drink. Then tell her to take a shower. Tell her you go first. You prepare her bed. All of a sudden, he kisses her on the cheek. She grabs him, and what a kiss! She goes into the shower, and the boy says, "She didn't do what you told me. She grabbed me. What should I do now?" I told her, Baruch Hashem, she knows.
The night of your wedding, this how you call the rabbi? I don't get it.
But when Bobby, my wife used to know.
Now we know why he's not answering our phone calls. Those phone calls.
My wife used to know. You know, I used to think it was the yeshiva boys. I would guess from the people I taught Hilchot Nidah, maybe 50% called me the wedding night. For what reason? Did they consummate the wedding?
They didn't.
They
don't know?
They don't know.
The next day.
Well, maybe she didn't need that now.
Ah, yes.
Maybe she didn't need that.
Wow.
She would be nidam, wouldn't she be? If she saw blood.
If she didn't see, no, even if she didn't see blood today, if you consummated and she didn't see blood, she still need that.
Maybe she wasn't serious. Maybe she wasn't
What do you mean? If she does not see blood, how could she even know?
She was on horseback.
Come on. I don't know what she did.
If she is a betula and he breaks betulin, becomes an
But if you break between there's blood.
not always. Should I go through? You want to know the anatomy? Many times you don't see blood. Usually, okay, I'm not going to the cut. But Lamaaseh. So, and who are these boys? These were the boys who went to the clubs, who you would think that they would know everything. They make fun of you. Baruch Hashem, they're pure.
Chicken.
Okay. How does the rooster cook? How does it? Okay, we're not going to go there. We're not going to get too graphic.
Which is she was open till 5:15.
DJ, can we go on? I'm sorry. So now comes the Gemara and says, the Gemara goes on and says, Mauricio. The Gemara goes on and says that we really have no kavachomer for chuppah. Why don't we have kavachomer for chuppah? Because chuppah necessitates something first. It doesn't work alone. It doesn't work. It only works with what?
After Kiddushin.
After Kiddushin. So I can't say that just because it does the end, it does the beginning. Because without the beginning, maybe it doesn't do anything. So therefore, Rav Huna, when he says it, he say, it only works with what? The prerequisite. Kiddushin is Erusin. So it works together. It's a builder on top of.
We broke the
Rav Huna like this.
Right.
Good? So, should we tell you?
Yeah.
We'll tell you about Kenya. I was riding a bicycle, and I'm not a good bicycle rider.
Really?
Kenya?
No tariff.
Oh, no tariffs? Let me tell you. You want to become rich? If you want to become rich, move to Kenya, move to Africa. There is opportunity in every field. You want to be an accountant? We'll give you money. You want to sell goods? Is Africa? It's unbelievable the opportunities that people.
Which Africa? South or North?
Oh, everywhere. Hey, the whole country.
I'm talking about the bicycle, Rabbi. You ride the bicycle, then you can't come to Shabbat Zion.
They have the synagogue. We'll tell you about the synagogue. We go to the synagogue. That was one of the reasons I went. There's the synagogue there. The rabbi's leaving. They're looking for another rabbi. So the rabbi, you're interested?
You're Rabbi.
No, not sure. He comes and he talks all the good things about the synagogue. We have a minyan. So I ask him how many weddings you perform. He says an average of 5 weddings a year. How many brit milahs do you perform? He says, no, I don't perform brit milahs. So right then came in 2 girls who work for the Australian embassy, Jewish girls. And he says, Rabbi, tell them why you don't perform the brit milah. He says, no, it's not important. He says, you know why? Because all the women that these Israeli Jews take are black tribal women. They're not Jews. So the rabbi is going to make a brit milah on the goy?
Wow.
He says, then the man comes in, another man. The Rebbetzin makes bagels. Every Sunday she makes bagels. She makes 48 bagels. She sells them. Convert them. What convert them? You know, one rabbi which Mr. Gindi likes a lot. His name is Rav Shlomo. I'm not going to tell you his last name. Rav Shlomo. He came in to Africa. He's risky. He's risky, very risky. He went and he made conversions for 180 people in one day. Wow. He took them to Lake Victoria, And he made them. Each one, he says, even if you want to be a rabbi, you can make $1 million. There is tribes which want to convert. Charge them $500 a piece. There's 3 million of them. Can you imagine how much money you could be making as conversion? Clean money. Didn't steal from anybody. Okay, who accepts that conversion? So in Africa they can accept the conversion, but the situation there is horrible. Can you? The guy said not 90%, not 95%, 100% of the Israelis, Jewish people who are living in Kenya, their wives are pagans.
Wow.
From these tribes of pagans. We went to the. Okay, I'll tell you. We went to.
It's not wives, it's pileges.
Pileges. Avi wants to get melamed zchut. They'll go back to Israel. Forget about it. He goes in. We go in. And we
They go to the mikveh, the whole thing.
we come into the village, a Maasai village. It's called Maasai. The tribe is Maasai. We go into the village, and one big man comes to me and hugs me. He says, I king like David. I'm king like David. Like David. That's nice, very nice. He says, all this, I am like Jacob. I'm like Jacob. I said, what's Jacob? Jacob. He says, Mapuba, here. Tatata, come here. He has 4 wives. Has the 4 wives. He says, and I'm like you, holy man. I said, well, you like me?
It's on you now.
What?
He's talking to you.
Talk to me. Why is he like me? He starts jumping up and down, screaming, Babu, Babu. I said, what are you doing? He says, when I 16-year-old, holy man like you come with a blade, cha! Cut me. And I jump up. My father, don't cry. You're a man. You don't cry. But I jump up. Until now, I jump up.
Where'd you advocate?
Brit Milah.
Brit Milah.
Oh, 16?
At 16.
At 16, he has his Brit Milah. And he says, my wives, if they don't have, I don't take them. At 12-year-old, we do it for them.
Oh, no. They
Really?
Circumcise the women.
Wow.
Circumcise the women.
You don't let them here, then I heard that.
That's
This is Africa, my friend.
This is Africa.
Rabbi,
Cannibals, animals, Africa.
Nairobi or Mombasa?
We started in Nairobi.
just do that.
You go to the villages?
We went to the villages. 5 hours away by bus. 4.5 miles.
Wow.
So any
Underground?
safari?
Went to safari. We went on safari. One safari we went on Friday. We went bike riding. They said you could go to the bikes because they have watchers. Okay. So I'm going by bike. I don't know how to ride bike. These guys ride bikes very well. They're way ahead of me. I get lost. Middle of the jungle, I'm lost.
Middle of
The rabbi has no one to talk to.
There's 2 roads. And here I'm sitting there by the roads. I don't know
Told you which one to take.
I'm supposed to follow. All of a sudden, what do I? Maybe 8, 9 big bison start running at me.
Buffaloes.
No, the bisons don't eat people.
No.
And you look at what they're doing. I'm petrified. They're crossing the road. Fast. I get so nervous. I figure out how am I going to know how to go. I'm going to go on both roads and see where there's bike tracks. I found the bike track. I speed. By the time I get to them, I see them. I'm so happy. All of a sudden, what takes place? A bunch of zebras.
Oh, wow.
Right in front of me. But those are not so dangerous.
Maybe they're running away from
They may be right.
That's the preamble of some stories.
Wow.
Everybody have a very good day.